Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Saturday, July 5th. Hopefully, both of you survived the 4th. You're probably not up yet, but you can catch me later in the day. So, this isn't the weekday, this is the weekend, right? And normally I go off the rails. But I decided since I missed a day this week, I would continue on with the weekday into the weekend. And today we're going to be discussing tools. We've talked about this before, I know. But I think it bears redoing again so that everybody has a good understanding of what tools to have and how to properly use them. So stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric, and yes, this is the weekend, but we're treating it like the weekday. Today is July 5th, 2025. So, what did I do for July 4th? Well, I got the ditching bucket on the mini excavator that I own and started trying to ditch some of the meadows because the water is just laying everywhere, so it's kind of slowing down our haying part. I am going to put some hay on the ground today just to kind of give a test run of the equipment. But speaking of equipment, what do you really need? I mean, I get asked this a lot, and it's going to vary by who you talk to. I'm going to give it to you straight up. The stuff from Harbor Freight, the stuff from Walmart, the stuff from Lowe's, Home Depot, the stuff from Temu. The way I look at it is I don't need to invest thousands of dollars into tools that I can have $100 worth of tools do the same thing. I'm not trying to impress anybody. If you're trying to impress anybody, please go with Snap-on. Snap-on is the top of the top, all right? My son has Snap-on. He's a Ford mechanic. That's what he, you know, decided to go with. He wanted what he called quality. And I think prestige goes with it too. But since I'm not a quote unquote mechanic, I get my tools from wherever. Now I have, three big rolling chests of tools. One at the shop, one in my garage, and then I have some here in the house. And to and to be truthfully honest with you, a lot of my tools for my major set are Craftsman that my wife had bought me, I don't know, 20 years ago, and I still have. So the bulk of that toolbox that you see in some of my videos that are behind me have got mostly Craftsman in it. It's not all Craftsman. It's just mostly Craftsman. But what I found when I was running a dairy or I was farming and I needed tools a lot, and then starting this shop and trying to see because the tools that are in the shop I supply. All right. Claude was a mechanic prior to going to work for me. He had a ton of tools, but one of the things that I decided to do in the shop was supply the tools. And why is that? That way, if anything happens where Claude decides to retire or move on or do this or that, I'm not stuck in a position where I'm replacing a lot of tools. So I supply the shop tools, which is the big cabinet out in the shop bay. And we carry a lot of the specialty tools in one of the drawers out there. Everything from a clutch alignment tool to anything on four wheelers and stuff like that, side by sides that we've had to pick up to fix mine, we have in a specialty draw. And then we have on the rack in my area individual kits that are specialty kits, whether it be specialty pliers, specialty oil wrench removers. But the bulk of my buying, when I'm doing it, I'm either at Harbor Freight or I'm on Temu. All right. I have bought Walmart tools, and that's what I did. And that's what I did that 1 year, just to have all three trucks. See, that's just it. If you're going to be doing any kind of work on the road where you're using a truck, now you got to have another set of tools for there. Most people don't take that into consideration. They feel that, you know, all I need is just my tools in my tool chests at home or at the shop. But for us, it's not the case. Most of the tools that I have in the truck, I bought at Walmart and Harbor Freight. Okay. And what are in my trucks? I have 2 sets of metric and 2 sets of SAE hand wrenches. They go up to, I want to say, 3/4. And then I bought 1 set of the oversized at Harbor Freight that are the bigger end wrenches. And then I have in the trucks 1/4 inch, 3/8, and 1/2 inch drive. It's a big set. Covers all the sockets. Also has another set of hand wrenches in it. Screwdriver. And I also bought the big pack of screwdrivers. Put that in there. And what I found with my new truck, since I haven't got the toolbox in the back to throw crap in, the toolbox that you can never find what you need when you need it, but only shows up weeks later when you don't need it. Yeah, I decided not to put my toolbox back in the new truck. So how am I getting by without the toolbox? Well, since we hardly ever used it, in the Dodge, there's underneath the back seat that fold up, there's compartments where you can put stuff. So I went out and I spent $16 at Harbor Freight on a nice handy, I think it's pronounced Braun, but it's a nice zipper tool bag. And I put my end wrenches, screwdrivers, pliers, and all that goody stuff in that bag. And then collapsed it down, and it slides right underneath in those divots in the back on one side. And then on the other side, I have my gooseneck ball that came in as a kit from Temu. Oh, that was Amazon. Excuse me. I got it through Amazon. And then I have my jump pack on that side through Temu, which is a 6,000 cold cranking amp jump start. Love it. Temu, $50, and it's outdoing my $200 jump packs. If you don't have one, I recommend it. No, I'm not getting paid as a sponsor. You can't buy me. I'm too expensive. Or maybe I'm too cheap. But no, I mean, I get it wherever gives me the best price and also will hold up. And I used to be the guy that said, I don't want any cheap Chinese crap, all right? I got news for you guys. The stuff everywhere is coming from China. All your big players moved to China. When I was getting Briggs Homelight, DeWalt, I mean, the list goes on. It all said made in China. Some of them said assembled in the US of A, but not made in the US. It was assembled. So if I'm going to buy Craftsman that was made in China, why not pay the China cost instead of the Craftsman cost for the same tools? You see where I'm going with this? Jason, you hit the nail on the head. Find some tools that are comfortable in your hand and make the job easier. I could sit down with any one of you and for under $100 have you set up with the bare essentials of tools, honestly. And then we'll step it up a little bit and say, okay, I always suggest a compression tester, a spark tester. I like the battery testing unit where we can see if the unit is charging or not. What else would I throw in there? I mean, I'm blessed. And when I say I'm blessed, is that I'm old enough so that a lot of my tools are acquired. And I used to go to a lot of auctions, okay? And if the Craftsman tools would show up to be sold, I would buy them up, reasonable price, right? And add them to my Craftsman set. See, not all of them that are in my box that are Craftsman were from my wife's generous Christmas gift. It comes from auctions, yard sales, wherever I see them. If it says Craftsman on them, I grab them and throw them into the toolbox. And that's how I ended up with so much Craftsman tools, especially hand wrenches. I mean, I went to this one auction, and I am not kidding you. I probably walked away with over 100 hand wrenches that were all Craftsman, from metric to SAE. And Claude's like, why do we need so many of these that say Craftsman on it? So, well, you never know when you need an extra wrench. And we don't take the Craftsman and do it to them, but we do the Harbor Freight and the TMU and all them. If we need a wrench, hand wrench, to get on something and the hand wrench is too thick, we will take the grinder to it and grind it on both sides to get it so that it's smaller and it will slide into there. I don't do that to my Craftsman, but I do that to the Harbor Freight and TMU. But you don't need to have snap-on tools to become a mechanic. The tools do not make the mechanic. It's a good mechanic and how he uses his tools. My son has probably got more money in just his battery-operated impact than I have in my rolling tool chest. He makes a living at it. I make a living at it. The only difference is I'm not looking to impress you. I'm looking to impress you with my skills and how well I do stuff versus what I'm using. If any of you out there are a sponsor for tools, shoot me a message. I can be bought. No, just kidding. I mean, I tell it like it is. And even if I had sponsors, I'm not going to steer you wrong. That's the problem with today, is that so many people will jump on the bandwagon of recommending this and this and this only because they're getting it free or they're getting paid to do it. Even if I was getting paid to do it, if the tool wasn't that great and it was stupid money for it, I'd call a spade a spade. Sorry, that's just the way I am. So if you have crappy tools, do not send them to me to sponsor on my show. Because if it's crappy, I'm going to say it's crappy. And if it's expensive and it's crappy, I'm going to say it's expensive and crappy. That's just the way I roll. Am I saying that the ones like my son that have snap-on tools are idiots? No, not even close. If you're making a living at it, especially like a Ford or a Dodge or, you are trying to impress to a certain extent. I get it. I don't want the monthly payment on that crap, but I get it, and I'm not here to judge whether you're a good mechanic or you're not. But what I can tell you is the tools don't make a mechanic. The mechanic makes the tools and how well they're used. And I know there's cheap crap out there that doesn't last. And the minute you get a breaker bar on a socket and the socket breaks, I get it. Snap-on is, and you got a brand new socket, right? Harbor Freight used to be that way. I'm not so sure now unless you buy the insurance. Well, Harbor Freight used to stand behind them. And I told this story before. When I started dealing with Harbor Freight when it was strictly a mail order. This was back in the mid-'80s when I started buying from them. And I bought a 1/4 inch, 3/8, and a 1/2 inch set. They were a combo. And they showed up. and the half-inch drive, I think it was like a 9/16 socket, wasn't, you couldn't use it because it had like a piece of slag in there that it wouldn't go down over. So I called them up and I said, could you please send me just the 9/16 socket? That's all they need. The rest of it is good. And about a week later, big box showed up and it was a complete set all over again. So I gave them a call and I said, look, all I needed was a 9/16. Did you want me to send the other set back? And they said, absolutely not. Enjoy your gift, Mr. Eady, for being a valued customer. And I've been a customer of theirs ever since. And we finally, in our area, got the stores about 4 or 5 years ago where you can drive 20 miles and you're at a Harbor Freight store, which is really nice because you can go in and put your hands on it. I recommend to work within your budget. You know, the cheapest places are like yard sales, auctions, and the next best is Temu, and the next best is Harbor Freight. I recommend Harbor Freight only because if you have the insurance, you can walk back into there, okay? And I'm in their Inside Track membership. And I do that because we use them a lot. And actually, most of my family seems to know my phone number to go get the Inside Track member deals. And I don't care because I get coupons for so much off every so often because of what everybody is spending. But if you buy from Harbor Freight and you get in with their Inside Track Club, you know, you can get early deals, you can get online deals only. There's a lot of things that if it's only worth it if you use it a lot. If you're just going in to buy this or that, don't bother with the membership. I can remember when I wasn't, and they had a rolling tool chest that we were looking at to put in my garage, and the rolling tool chest was like $800-900. But if I was an Inside Track member, I'd save 15%, and the cost of the membership ended up being squat compared to what I was saving on that chest. So I went ahead and just said, all right, yeah, sign me up, and I'll take the discount on the rolling chest, which was a pretty good chunk of money. You have to decide on how much you're using it to see if it's worthwhile. Don't become an Inside Track member if you're only in there once a year. It's not going to pay for itself unless you're buying big items. Weigh it out. Go in with a buddy and split it using the same phone number so that spread the wealth, spread the goodness. But I'm going to end this with you don't need top of the line tools to be a mechanic. You need to become a mechanic first with whatever tools you have at your disposal. And if you're just getting into it, I would recommend staying debt free, and that means buying from Temu or Harbor Freight. Those two are the cheapest place you can get stuff. And I would throw a set of 1/4, 3/8, and 1/2 inch dry sockets with the extensions and all that as part of a kit. And have it SAE and metric, okay? And then you're going to want a set of pliers, vice grips, screwdrivers. And from there, you get your hand tools, the hand wrenches, SAE and metric. You know, get a couple sets of each because you're going to need a lot of times 2 of the same wrenches, right? And then add to it as you need it. You know, you don't need a brand new tool chest, a rolling tool chest, right full of tools, if you're only going to work on a couple weed eaters a year. It looks pretty, but it doesn't make you a mechanic, right? Getting your hands dirty, figuring out what the issues are, doing the diagnostic, doing the steps that we talk about here on the channel, and treating your customer the way you would hope to be treated makes you a mechanic. So on that note, you guys have a great Saturday, and we'll probably catch you here for the Sunday sermon tomorrow morning. Again, thanks so much for watching and being part of the channel. It's greatly appreciated.